Globe showing Europe, Africa. Imagine a car that powers itself. No charging stations, no waiting hours for a battery refill, and no dependence on foreign oil. Sound impossible? Well, it's not anymore, because Africa's breakthrough electric vehicle technology has just entered the U.S. market, and it could change everything you thought you knew about the EV industry. This isn't just another electric car. It's a self-powered EV designed with revolutionary African innovation, and now it's officially being sold in America. Automobile high voltage, the global auto industry wasn't ready for this, and competitors are scrambling to catch up. While the world has been focused on Tesla, BYD, and European automakers, a quiet revolution has been brewing in Africa. Engineers and innovators from the continent have been working on clean, sustainable, and most importantly, independent energy solutions. This new EV isn't just about wheels and speed. It represents freedom from the charging grid. The vehicle generates its own power while driving, making range anxiety a thing of the past. Imagine never needing a plug-in station ever again. With this launch in the United States, Africa is no longer just a participant in the EV race. It's becoming a leader. Globe showing Europe, Africa. This move could disrupt not just Tesla, but also the growing dominance of Chinese automakers in the EV market. Because while they're building charging networks, this African invention bypasses the need for them entirely. For American drivers, this means cost savings, energy independence, and a brand new chapter in sustainable mobility. So here's the big question. If you never had to worry about charging an EV again, would you finally make the switch from gas to electric? Sport utility vehicle light bulb, let me know what you think in the comments below. One thing is clear. The EV revolution is no longer just coming from Silicon Valley or Shanghai. Africa's breakthrough has arrived in the U.S., and the world will never look at electric cars the same way again. But here's the part most people don't know. This wasn't an overnight success. Africa's journey into self-powered vehicles has been decades in the making, fueled by necessity, creativity, and a determination to solve problems the rest of the world often ignored. In many African countries, electricity access is inconsistent. Blackouts and unstable grids made traditional EV adoption almost impossible. But instead of giving up, innovators turned a challenge into an opportunity. They asked themselves, why depend on a fragile grid at all? What if a car could power itself anywhere, anytime? That question sparked years of research into renewable systems, kinetic energy recovery, and unconventional battery chemistry. And the result? A vehicle that doesn't just consume power, it creates it. So why America? The U.S. has long been the proving ground for revolutionary technologies. It's where Tesla went from a startup to a household name. But now, an African invention is challenging the giants on their own turf. And it's not going unnoticed. Early adopters in states like California and Texas are already placing orders, curious to see if this African marvel can deliver on its promise. Meanwhile, whispers inside the auto industry are growing louder. Some executives see this as a gimmick, while others admit, behind closed doors, that it could upend everything. Think about it. Billions of dollars have been invested into charging stations, battery swap networks, and EV infrastructure. But if a self-powered EV works on a large scale, that entire ecosystem could be bypassed. And here's another twist: energy independence. For decades, America has relied on foreign oil. EVs were supposed to solve that, but they created a new dependency: batteries from China. Now, with Africa's breakthrough technology, there's a chance to escape both. This could shift the balance of power not just in the auto industry, but in global geopolitics. Behind every revolution, there's a visionary. And in this case, it all leads back to one man, an African inventor who dared defy the global auto industry. He wasn't backed by billion-dollar corporations or Silicon Valley investors. He didn't have access to the world's most advanced labs. What he had was an idea that the car of the future shouldn't need to stop at a gas pump or even a charging station. It should power itself endlessly, sustainably, and affordably. Like many great innovators, he was laughed at first. Critics dismissed his designs as fantasy. Engineers told him the laws of physics wouldn't allow it. Investors said it was too risky, but he refused to give up. With nothing more than scrap materials and determination, he built his first prototype in secret. And when that car powered itself for the first time, even for a few minutes, he knew the world would never believe what he had just achieved. Word spread quickly. Local communities began taking notice. Journalists came to see the so-called impossible car. And while many were skeptical, they couldn't deny what they saw with their own eyes. An electric car that seemed to recharge itself as it moved. It was raw. It was imperfect. But it worked. And that moment changed everything. Years later, after relentless refinements and international testing, the design was finally ready for mass production. That's when U.S. investors came knocking. Not Wall Street bankers, but forward-thinking entrepreneurs who saw the potential to disrupt the biggest industry on Earth. Today, that dream has arrived on American soil. You can now buy what was once thought impossible, an African self-powered EV, legally registered, road-ready, and shockingly affordable compared to Tesla and other electric cars. Some American drivers are calling it a miracle. Others still don't believe it's real. But test drives are proving the hype. No plugs, no charging stations, no waiting. Just endless driving powered by pure innovation. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. The deeper you look into this story, the more it reveals about Africa's untapped potential. Because this isn't just about one car. It's about a continent stepping onto the global stage, ready to lead the future of technology. The African innovators behind this EV are not stopping at America. No, this is just the beginning. Plans are already in motion to expand across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Factories are being set up not only in Africa, but also in strategic global locations to meet the explosive demand that's expected. The message is clear. This isn't a one-off experiment. This is a revolution on wheels designed to scale worldwide. But let's be honest, such a breakthrough doesn't arrive quietly. Tesla, the world's EV pioneer, has invested billions into charging infrastructure and battery technology. China's BYD has rapidly become the largest EV maker, dominating with affordable models and massive battery production. Now, both are facing an uncomfortable question. What happens if charging stations are no longer necessary? Because if cars can recharge themselves while driving, then the billions poured into charging networks could become obsolete overnight. And it's not just Tesla or BYD at risk. Think bigger. The oil industry, already shaken by the global push for electric vehicles, is staring down something even scarier. A future where cars don't just move away from gasoline, but also don't even need a grid. This African technology threatens the very foundation of energy dependency. No oil, no plugs, just freedom on four wheels. History has shown that whenever a disruptive technology emerges, the giant of industry rarely play fair. And this time, the inventors know they must be more vigilant than ever. In the United States, the reaction is explosive. Car enthusiasts call it the miracle EV. Environmental groups hail it as the true green revolution. And drivers? They're lining up for test drives, stunned by the idea of never needing to charge again. Yet, not everyone is celebrating. Traditional automakers are lobbying for stricter safety tests, longer delays in certification, and even calling for tariffs on African-made EVs. The message is clear. If they can't beat it yet, they'll try to slow it down. Meanwhile, in China, BYD and NIO are accelerating their research, working day and night to release their own version of a self-powered EV. And in Silicon Valley, Tesla engineers are under immense pressure. Internal leaks suggest that the company is rushing a new prototype, codenamed Project Infinite, that could mimic Africa's breakthrough. But here's the catch. Rushing innovation often leads to costly mistakes. And one wrong step could topple even the mightiest giant. For Africa, this moment is bigger than cars. It's about rewriting the narrative of a continent often overlooked in technology. If they succeed, they won't just sell EVs, they'll inspire a generation, proving that the future of innovation can come from anywhere and that Africa is ready to lead. But if they stumble, powerful forces are waiting in the shadows, ready to reclaim control itself. And the answer to that question is about to spark the most intense technology war of our time. In California, Tesla quietly shifts gears. Elon Musk, never one to ignore a threat, greenlights a secretive initiative. Internally, it's known as Project Infinite. The mission? to reverse engineer Africa's breakthrough. Sources suggest Tesla has already acquired early units of the African EV, disassembled them, scanned them, and poured over every inch of the power system. But there's a problem. The innovation doesn't fit neatly into Tesla's existing ecosystem. Their billion-dollar supercharger network, one of Tesla's crown jewels, would instantly lose relevance if self-powered EVs became mainstream. China's strategy is clear. If they can't stop Africa's invention, they will drown it in competition, mass-producing alternatives and leveraging their dominance in global supply chains. But in doing so, they risk a dangerous game. Copying an innovation without fully understanding its foundations could lead to catastrophic failures. While Tesla and BYD prepare counterattacks, oil giants fight in shadows. Lobbyists flood Washington, Brussels, and other power centers, spreading doubts about the safety, durability, and even legality of self-powered EVs. Behind the scenes, PR campaigns are quietly seeded, articles questioning whether African cars meet international safety standards, think tanks warning of untested technologies. It's the oldest tactic in the playbook. When disruption threatens, sow doubt, delay regulation, and hope the innovation collapses under its own weight. They respond not with words, but with results. More cars roll off production lines. Early adopters in America report astonishing performance. Months of driving without a single recharge, no plugs, no range anxiety. Tesla feels its dominance slipping. China races against time to copy the breakthrough. Oil companies double down on resistance. And Africa, for the first time in modern history, finds itself holding the keys to a global technological revolution. The stage is set. The players are moving. The opening shots of a new kind of war, a war for the future of mobility and energy, have just been fired. The first real clash doesn't come from Tesla or BYD. It comes from Washington, a coalition of lawmakers, heavily lobbied by automakers and oil companies, suddenly calls for urgent safety reviews of the African EV. They argue that a car generating its own power could pose risks, demanding months, if not years, of testing before mass adoption. On the surface, it's about protecting consumers. But insiders know the truth. This is an attempt to slow Africa's momentum. Almost immediately after, Tesla launches a massive PR campaign. New ads boast of the world's safest, most trusted EVs, a thinly veiled jab at the African competitor. And behind closed doors, Tesla begins quietly offering discounts and incentives to lock customers into its ecosystem, making it harder for the newcomer to gain ground. The message is subtle but clear. Stick with the giant you know, not the outsider you don't. For the inventor at the center of it all, the pressure is unlike anything he's ever faced. One day, it's billion-dollar offers from global automakers begging to buy his patents. The next, it's threats, anonymous warnings telling him to step aside, to leave this business to the big players. But he refuses. In interviews, he repeats the same line again and again. This technology belongs to the people, not to corporations. And with every word, his legend grows. On social media, hashtags explode. Hashtag no more charging. Videos of drivers showing off endless road trips go viral. Influencers call it the future of freedom. European countries, already battling high energy prices, begin negotiating direct import deals with African manufacturers. Middle Eastern nations, long dependent on oil exports, watch nervously as demand projections for fuel collapse. But the more powerful this movement grows, the more dangerous the opposition becomes. Tesla is preparing a bold counterstrike. China is about to unleash its own rival prototype, and oil executives, losing billions on paper, are plotting moves that could push this fight beyond just boardrooms and into the streets. The battle raged on. Tesla unveiled its counterstrike, Project Infinite, a rushed attempt at mimicking Africa's breakthrough. China's BYD revealed a rival prototype, promising to mass-produce a similar system at lightning speed. And Big Oil? Their lobbying grew louder, their ads darker, warning the world that this new technology was too untested to trust. The clash had all the markings of a global technology war, giants fighting to preserve their empires. But something unexpected happened. The world chose differently. While corporations fought, while politicians debated, the public voted with their wallets. They lined up for Africa's EV. They shared their stories online. And every purchase, every mile driven without charging, was a declaration of independence from oil, from power grids, from old ways of thinking. And as adoption spread across the U.S., Europe, and Asia, one truth became undeniable. The future no longer belonged to the giants of the past. Africa had not only built a car, it had built a movement that redefined what technology could be and where it could come from. For the inventor, it was never about money or fame. It was about proving that innovation can come from anywhere and that the future belongs not to corporations, but to humanity. And so, the self-powered EV became more than just a machine. It became a symbol, a reminder that when vision meets determination, even the smallest workshop can change the world. Today, African self-powered EVs drive across American highways, European cities, and Asian megacities. The oil pumps still pump, Tesla still builds, China still competes. But the world has shifted forever, because the question is no longer if the future is electric, but who gets to lead it. And against all odds, that answer came from Africa.